Mediocrity 4 is now on Patreon, link in the description. Jojo's Bizarre Adventure neither deserves nor needs a lengthy introduction. It's one of the most widely popular anime fandoms around and has only exploded in popularity as social media continues to invade all of our lives in some Orwellian fever dream. Jojo's is a manga that started in 1987 by Hirohiko Araki. Part of it was adapted into an OVA in 2003. There were a lot of production and rights issues surrounding the license for a while until David Productions successfully launched the anime in 2012. Now, because the story is in parts with different plot structures, protagonists, and sometimes even genres, I'll be covering my thoughts in chunks, and because Part 1 Phantom Blood is by far the shortest, I'll take this opportunity to talk about the general production stuff. Whatever else I say in these videos, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure is fiercely entertaining a lot of the time. The art is great and does a good job capturing Araki's vibrant style. The music is excellent, even though a lot of it is just taken from classic rock songs, but it shows that the people involved have great taste in music. They brought, yes, one of my all-time favorite bands back into popular conscious via a demographic that would otherwise be more into J-pop. The animation is decent, but it's obvious, especially when two people are supposed to be touching, that David Productions isn't exactly a massive studio. But all of that is moot because JoJo's has some killer OPs and the sound design is Dragon Ball Z levels of cathartic. I love it when you can just feel the punches in a show. Where a lot of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure flounders for me is in the writing. Nowhere is that more apparent than in Phantom Blood. The lead, Jonathan Joestar, is a milquetoast protagonist. It tries building up a dynamic with his adopted brother Dio Brando, but I never bought it for a second. Dio is simply the worst. Okay, maybe not the worst, but by far the most overrated villain in anime history. He's just a douche and not a compelling or charismatic one at that. The show can talk up how awesome he is all at once, but I never bought it for a minute. Phantom Blood goes 10 episodes in the anime and he just wore out his welcome. Even in the 90-minute recut of the arc, he managed to wear out his welcome. This is the almighty Dio, and no, Stardust Crusaders does not make him better. It may in fact make him worse. After a decent fight in the Joestar manner, he just pisses off while Dandy Man explains that he's super powerful and unkillable and alive, and what is show don't tell? Point being that Jonathan then has to do a training montage to defeat someone he already defeated. Meanwhile, Dio is increasing in power by slaughtering people and sitting in a castle like he's the final boss in a Castlevania game. And that's my biggest gripe with the first 3 parts. Groundbreaking, original, truly bizarre, rave the weeaboos while they pretend like this isn't the exact same plot as Castlevania, a video game that came out a whole year before JoJo's Bizarre Adventure got its start. This is what anime hipsters are calling a compelling story? It's 80s video game level writing. Phantom Blood gets a 6 out of 10. As I said, it is fiercely entertaining and well put together, and it's also mercifully short. Dio might have worn out his welcome, but none of the other cast members did. It's not as groundbreaking or original as your average anime YouTuber would have you believe, but there's nothing inherently wrong with that. Overhyped? Sure. Overpraised? Definitely. Outright bad? Not at all. And JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 2 Battle Tendencies fares better in most regards. The action is fantastic. Every action beat lives up to the JoJo's reputation. But it might be the only thing that really lives up to said reputation. The 1920s New York setting is also a nice touch. It's probably the only setting in the series that doesn't feel overdone. And Araki's style really found a foothold with its character designs. Where it doesn't fare better is in the characters. Joseph Joestar, the lead of the story arc and grandson of Jonathan Joestar, is not for everyone. I know plenty of people who love him for all the reasons I don't. I thought he was an insufferable little twat. But even he fares better than the villain. Cars is the most often cited grievance with the entire series, and I agree. He is absolutely the worst antagonist in the series. The only reason why I show more disdain for Dio is because everyone hates Cars, whereas I feel like I'm in the minority of not liking Dio. And this is also the part where the vacuous pop culture references were at their most insufferable. It was cute having a monk named Tom Petty in Phantom Blood, or the main villain being a reference to Ronnie James Dio. But why is there an ancient Egyptian vampire named after a band that wouldn't exist for another 40 years after the story takes place, a band, mind you, named after the two types of electrical current, something that most certainly did not exist in ancient Egypt. And what is Japan's fascination with Egypt anyway? Battle Tendencies has strong action and a slightly more interesting story than Phantom Blood, but when the main hero and the main villain are varying degrees of boring and insufferable, I can't in good conscience give Battle Tendencies any higher than a 5 out of 10. I'm going to cut it there so that this video comes out in a timely manner. The first two parts of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure didn't feel like anything special. It wasn't bad, but it was a far cry from the influential masterpiece I was promised. Nebulous glowy hand magic, a plot right out of Castlevania, and a pair of boring villains really held this show back. But things would improve. Join me next time when I talk about the story arcs that lifted JoJo from an action anime of strictly average quality to something more. Next time I'll be talking about Stardust Crusaders and Diamond is Unbreakable. I'm Mediocrity4. Stay bizarre.